Aw, what's the matter? The game too hard? Time to get good, noob. But what is good? What is the nature of good? Does one have the free will to become good? Welcome to Deep Thoughts While Gaming. I'm Chris Chappell. Today I'm playing Dark Souls, the one that started it all. Okay, well, technically Demon Souls started it all, but I never played it because I don't have a PlayStation. For that matter, I've never played Bloodborne either. When will you port them to PC, Sony? Do it! Do it! But here in Dark Souls, we see all the hallmarks of the Souls-like genre. Punishing gameplay. A story so cryptic and vague, you'd have to spend hundreds of hours watching YouTube lore videos to make sense of it. Dark Souls sprang from the mind of Hidetaka Miyazaki, frequently listed as one of the best games of all time for its amazing overlapping level design, at least in the first half, iconic locations and culture based on real-world locales, a lovable cast of characters who have really creepy laughs. Don't worry, I'm sure their quest lines all have happy endings, and the rush of defeating an enemy you thought was impossible, only to later see that boss as a common enemy to show you how far you've come. Perhaps good is like what Conan said all those years ago, to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of their women. I don't want to know what a Capra demon woman looks like. Unless she looks like this. Oh. Wow, that's really symbolic for Dark Souls. It started off great and got worse as it went along. Miyazaki admits there were production and studio problems, resulting in a rushed second half, and the bed of chaos, perhaps one of the worst boss battles in video game history. It's a notoriously unfun fight, blindingly hard, and requiring a long run back to the boss should you die, and you will die. A lot. This is one point where the maxim get good fails. It's just not fun in an otherwise iconic game. Sorry, Elden Ring. It'll always be a bonfire, an Estus flask in my mind. But Dark Souls challenges your notions of good, not just in terms of being capable of playing the game well, but with its moral ambiguity. I don't feel particularly good when I'm putting down a wounded Sif, loyal and faithful wolf companion of the heroic knight Artorias, limping so much after a fight he can't even swing his sword. But I must to continue the game. The Age of Fire is coming to an end, and with it, the gods that reign. Perhaps one can see some parallels to our own times. The gods of Dark Souls are cut from a different cloth than that of the Judeo-Christian god. Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, does not love you, and neither does Guinevere, no matter how much you wish she did. Chest ahead, hold with both hands. The crux of the game is, do you, as the chosen undead of prophecy, rekindle the first flame to prolong the Age of Fire, an ultimately futile act that will still inevitably see the flame die and go out? Or do you embrace change and let the fire go out, issuing in an age of darkness, which is the good ending? Whichever one leads into Dark Souls 2, the best game in the series, fight me! Is good, as American philosopher and neuroscientist Sam Harris, who sought to create a secular form of morality, whatever increases the well-being of conscious creatures. In other words, creating the maximum pleasure for the most people and the minimum pain for the fewest. If so, how do you explain Henry Kissinger? He lived a life of absolute hedonism and sexual debauchery. 3 million people dead at his feet, according to his own biographer. That's a lot of souls to level up. And the man lived to be 100. What would Christopher Hitchens, a self-described anti-theist who hated all religion but possibly hated Henry Kissinger even more, have to say about that? How did Kissinger do it wrong? What should he have done differently, and why? Because in this secular attempt at explaining good, why should I care about the suffering of others? Of course, I need my own neighbors, my own country to have a degree of stability and prosperity, but I like my iPhone. Sure, it requires child slave labor in the Congo to mine the cobalt. Sure, it requires Chinese workers at the Foxconn plant in Shenzhen working such absurd hours in such absurd conditions that the only release for them is the sweet embrace of death, which is still denied to them because they put up suicide nets. It's a lot of suffering for my iPhone, but man, being able to play Angry Birds is worth it. Do we even have the free will to choose good? Consider the words of our brave and stunning vice president, soon to be the most voted for president in history, Kamala Harris.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Free will is an illusion then. You are a machine. How you behave is just the output, based on whatever inputs you're given. As James Lindsay, self-described anti-communist, says, the founding premise of woke ideology is that there is no shared reality we inhabit because perception determines reality, and perception is shaped by social position with respect to power. It's New Age Marxism. Crime is not an individual moral failing, a weakness of character. Rather, it is the result of poverty, which itself is the result of inequalities due to unequal distribution of material goods or capital. There's no individual agency, just absolute materialism. Redistribute the wealth, and crime will cease. So whatever crimes you need to commit to achieve that utopia is for the greater good. The horrific fusion of good being maximum pleasure and Marxist redistribution of goods is Star Trek, what a lot of Americans think socialism is. All their material needs will be assured, so they'll be free to pursue their art. Sure, no communist society ever achieved that, but that's not real communism. With the Federation constantly getting itself involved in race wars for resources, I guess that's not real communism either. But the ancient Greeks had a different way of looking at good. It wasn't a matter of good versus evil, it was a matter of good versus bad. A man could be good or bad the way a chair could be good or bad. Does it fulfill its function well? Aristotle wrote in his work, The Politics, about what he called natural slavery. Some people are born to be slaves, and while being human, he is a piece of property, and a piece of property is a tool for action separate from its owner. To Aristotle and the ancient world at large, a good man was powerful, smart, good-looking, a true Chad, capable of dominating lesser men. Greek historian and philosopher Plutarch says Julius Caesar became known as a hero when he massacred 1 million Gauls and enslaved another 1 million. They were born to be slaves, you see. Some go hollow, and some are the chosen undead. And that idea of good isn't locked away in the ancient past. Consider Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., known as one of the most influential Supreme Court justices in American history, who served till he was 90. He was a eugenicist. In 1927, he wrote the majority opinion in the case Buck v. Bell, where the Supreme Court ruled that, yes, the state does have the right to sterilize people, writing, 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. Some people are a drain on society, you see. Just ask the good people of New Londo. Of course, then there's an idea baked into us from the Christian heritage in the West, that someday there will be a final judgment. The bad guys may be flying high now, but someday they'll get their comeuppance. Those who go first shall go last. Sorry, Kissinger. But before you get all wrath of God, shoot 'em up and let God sort 'em out, consider all of us in America enjoying our slave labor technology are sitting a lot closer to the front of the line than the back. Just believing in Jesus is no guarantee of salvation. In the parable of the sheep and the goats also called Jesus Lord, but how they lived their lives and treated others, the things they actually did, not just believed, was different. You have to actually get good. So maybe we should take a cue from Abraham in the story of the destruction of Sodom, praying that if there's even just one righteous person in the city, maybe everyone can be spared? I think that would be good. Thank you for watching Deep Thoughts While Gaming. And remember, if you want to get to heaven, all you have to do is buy indulgences. Support the show on patreon.com/gamersunbeaten, or hit that join button to become a channel member. You'll get access to an exclusive Discord server, live streams, videos, emojis, and my promise to you that you will find your son. And if you enjoyed learning about good, you'll enjoy learning about evil in this episode about RimWorld. Oh God, Randy.